Tim Kasser, the psychologist at Knox College, who has done a lot of studies on happiness, argues that time affluence is a much higher prediction of life satisfaction than material affluence, for example, and there are a lot of studies on that. Well, where do we start? We can start now with the stimulus proposal is one thing, and get behind the proposal by Dean Baker, the economist at the Center for Economic and Policy Research in Washington, D.C., who says that we should use a portion of the stimulus money in order to provide tax credits to businesses for giving their workers more time off. Instead of laying people off, shortening their hours, giving them more vacation time, giving them family leave, giving them sick days when they're sick, and giving them a shorter work week. We're beginning to do that. We're furloughing people, we're cutting work weeks and things, but at the same time, people's salaries are cut, and they're already stretched and in debt, and so it becomes hard for them to take that. On the other hand, if we were to use a portion of the stimulus money to do this, we could give people both shorter hours and keep, at least for the short run, their wages where they are. And in the long run, those would probably begin to decline a little, but money might be needed less in a society where we're working less. We can do this, Baker says, and actually get more bang from our buck in terms of keeping more jobs and creating more jobs than in almost any other use of funds. So I encourage you to look at that. He wrote a piece in the Guardian newspaper called "When Less Really Is More." And but what other steps do we need to take along these lines? Well, we really need a campaign and an effort to get paid family leave for people. Right now there's a bill in Congress by Pete Stark, a congressman from Oakland, California, that would make the Family and Medical Leave Act, which is 12 weeks off paid, without pay, would make that a paid law, and that's certainly something to get behind. Certainly would have great cost benefits when we think of children's health and other things. We need to give people sick days. The United States is the only industrial country in the world that does not guarantee people time off paid when they're sick. What's the problem with that? What happens? People come to work sick and they get everybody else sick. It's a simple thing. Everybody, all the other countries recognize that that happens. That's not good. It's not good for productivity. People stay sick longer. They tax the medical system more. But we don't do it. So we have half of American workers who get zero paid sick days, and 86% of Americans who work in the restaurant industry who get zero paid sick days. Why is that a problem? Well, I probably don't have to go on too much about that. There is a bill in Congress. It's called the Healthy Families Act, proposed by Senator Kennedy, that would give Americans at least the right to 7 paid sick days. We need to get behind that. President Obama will sign these bills if the push is there and Congress is willing to pass them. And finally, my big pitch is that we really need, it's the slacker in me, we really need more paid vacation time in this country. If you live in Europe, you get guaranteed by law 4 weeks of paid vacation after your very first year on the job. And it goes up from there. Most people get 6 weeks, 7 weeks. We just did a poll in Washington State. We polled Washington voters and we asked them, how much paid vacation time are you getting this year? What do you think? What's your guess? What was the average? 1 week. What? 1 week. Half of all citizens of Washington State, workers in Washington State, are getting 1 week or less paid time off for vacation. Another quarter get 2 weeks or so, in the neighborhood of 2 weeks, and about a quarter of Washington State residents get 3 weeks or more, are doing pretty good. But this is also very based on your economic situation. It's a social justice issue. We find that about a third of low-income workers in Washington State get 0 paid vacation time. So people are taking a week off. It's not enough. It's not enough to recover from burnout, from all of the other kinds of things. Plenty of studies show, for instance, that if you regularly take at least 2 weeks off time, you're about half as likely to get heart disease. You're about a third less likely to get high blood pressure. All of those kind of things. The health care costs of this are enormous. And again, we don't recognize it. We seem to think that somehow taking time off and taking a vacation is some kind of luxury. I mean, it's just for, we don't need it. We'll just work ourselves to the bone, and then we'll get lucky, and we'll be, maybe we'll win the lottery, or we'll do something else, and we'll retire early, and then that's when life will begin. Well, I got news. That's not really what happens. So we in Washington State are actually trying to build a campaign. We hope to get maybe on the ballot in 2010 an initiative that would make Washington State the first state in the United States that actually had a paid vacation law. It will only be 2 weeks, but that's a start. Some people are mad at us because we're only saying 2 weeks, but we've got to start somewhere. We have to have something that we have some possible chance of passage. And in the meantime, we're also going to have in Seattle this summer, August 10th to 12th at Seattle University, we're going to have the first National Vacation Matters Summit. We're going to be bringing stakeholders, people from around the country to Seattle University to talk about what we can do to make the country understand that vacation is not a luxury, that we need these kind of things, and we need to begin to establish some of the protections for people on time that are taken for granted absolutely in every other wealthy country in the world. So we certainly encourage, I'm going to just pass out some sheets here. If you're interested in helping at all, either with our summit in August or with our eventual campaign, please sign up. Just pass these around, if you will, and just give us your email, and we will contact you. No pressure. But I really believe that this is just a must that we need to do. So we've got some opportunity in this crisis. We need to say we don't want to go back to things as usual, because things as usual weren't all that hot. I mean, they really weren't. We were working like crazy, working longer. Our productivity increased enormously from 2001 to 2008 under President Bush's watch. Labor productivity increased by 20%. What that really means is that everybody's working faster. Okay, so everybody's working faster, but they weren't working less. They're still working at least as much or more, and they weren't getting anything more for it. In fact, the wage of the average worker in the United States actually dropped by 3% during that same period where productivity went up by 20%. And the result is, we're getting a situation where we're the least healthy folks in the world, less happy. We don't necessarily have the lowest numbers when it comes to life satisfaction. We're sort of in the middle among industrial countries when it comes to life satisfaction. But we're highest when it comes to depression, anxiety, and other mental illness. So we've got people on the top feeling relatively good, but we've got an awful lot of people suffering from these kind of things. And so we can really... The environmental movement has to think, I think, beyond green to the whole, the wholeness of society, to health, to time, to all of these kind of things. And we need to understand that what we do to trade stuff for time and to get more time is not only good for us, will not only make us happier and healthier, but it's also the fundamental thing that we have to do if we want to get this growth problem under control, this ecological footprint under control. We simply cannot grow on like this. We've got to begin to trade our productivity increases for time instead of stuff. Thank you.